Hey, Evan here. And if you are watching this video, that's because you would also enjoy tier list videos like I do. I think they're a super fun way to share an opinion. I thought about, should I do one of my own? That would be kind of fun. And thought about it for a while, and here I am. I want to do it because it sounds like it's going to be fun, and that is something that everybody enjoys. If you think it's fun, why not do it? Now, huge Dream Theater fan, and with a new album coming out later this year, I feel like I've had plenty of time to let all of their other albums sink in. And as you might know with prog, it takes a little while for some of those songs to sink in and really form an opinion on them. And I'm confident that I'll be able to make a tier list that I would agree with and love to share with the world. But first, I would like to explain my tier list and how I plan on using it. As you can see, I have S to F, sort of that classic Capcom tier list, and I'm going to use all of it. I love all of Dream Theater's albums, but if I'm just going to give everything like, C, that's the worst I'm going to do because I don't want to feel bad because I like this album still, even though, it doesn't hold up to the other albums. Then why would I even have D and F? So I'm going to use everything there. And with that out of the way, also, it's just an opinion. It's just my opinion. I wanted to share it with you guys. If you agree with it, that's awesome. If you don't, just let me know in the comments. What would you change? How would you swap the order around? Don't have to be a jerk about it. It's just all fun. And I'd love to see your guys' opinions on how you would rank the Dream Theater albums that are out thus far. So let's get underway. So, in order to make it easier for me to keep track of what I am doing, we're going to go in chronological order of release. So, starting out with When Dream and Day Unite, which let me see, did I get that right? Yes! I remember always being confused and thought I'm confused right now. I always thought it was When Day and Dream Unite, not When Dream and Day Unite, but we're just going to go right to F. Um, it's not really an album that I actually ever listen to now. Yes, I have listened to it. It's got some cool songs. Yahtzee Jam is a nice instrumental. Afterlife is pretty cool, though I really know that one more because of the score DVD. And same thing with Only a Matter of Time. I know that one from the Budokan. So those are cool songs, but I don't prefer hearing them sung by Charlie Dominici over James LeBray. So that's a big reason too why that one would be an F tier for me. Moving on, Images and Words, their breakthrough album. I'm putting that at A for now. I don't know, I might adjust it after I have everything up there. I'm definitely going to just make sure I agree with the order of that. Images and Words, obviously, great album. One of their more well-known ones because that's when they really broke through with Pull Me Under. You have Under Glass Moon. I love that song. One of my favorite solos from Petrucci. Metropolis, of course, it's a classic. It's super, super great. A super, super. I just keep saying super. It's a great example of what Dream Theater does. Learning to Live, again, another great example, and one of those rare John Mayung lyrics songs. So that's always a fan favorite as well. Let's move on to Awake. Now I'm going to put Awake just behind Images and Words. I just think when you look song to song, in my opinion, Awake just isn't quite as good. Great album, still A tier. I mean, you've got A Mind Beside Itself, Sweet, The Mirror, which is just so heavy. You have Caught in a Web, I think is kind of an underrated song that might go by the wayside. It's got a ton of cool like jungle groove drumming going on in there. That middle section, super groovy. 6 o'clock, cool drum intro. That one's really fun to learn if you're a drummer. Hard intro with a lot of intricacy. But for me, it's just a little bit under Images and Words, but still great album. Okay, then we get into Falling into Infinity. So I'm gonna put this at D for right now. is definitely one of their lesser liked albums when it comes to fan base. There's still some great songs on there. New Millennium, Peruvian Skies, Lines in the Sand, Hell's Kitchen, super good instrumental, more chill than a lot of their other instrumentals. Trial of Tears or Trail of Tears, however I'm supposed to pronounce that. And there's some like very prog moments. Just Let Me Breathe has crazy prog moments in it. The solo section, especially when there's like this crazy panning back and forth between keyboard and guitar parts that would be really difficult to reproduce live. But as a whole, this album just doesn't hold up to the rest. It has a lot of very commercially poppy songs, but not necessarily Dream Theater's fault, because I know at the time they were having like label issues where, music business, they want you to sell records and make money and be on MTV, and that's just not the type of music Dream Theater is wanting to make. And, then they didn't really do as well with trying to make that style of music. I don't know. Anyways, let's go to our first S tier entry. Scenes from a Memory. It's got to be S tier. It's one of their best albums, and it might be the best. We'll have to see if anything is swaying my opinion today. But it's so good. First concept album, and they just nail it. It's amazing. Um, Kind of like Nintendo doing the first open world game with Breath of the Wild, and they just crush it. They make it the best open world game you've ever played. I think Scenes from a Memory is one of the best concept albums that I've ever listened to. I'm not gonna be like best ever made, but it's one of the best that I've ever listened to. It's just so cohesive. It's a cool story. Um, and the songs are great. I don't think there's a lot of filler on this. Because even something like Through My Words is a necessary song to have. It's part of the story. It's a very short song. Um, Coincides with Through Her Eyes, which is a very more poppy song, but it fits with the album. You can't have just nonstop crazy riffing and shredding the whole time to make a concept album. There's parts that you need to let it breathe, and that's what they do. Such a good album, and it's not just the Dance of Eternity. It's more than that. Um, nice. So let's move on. Scenes from Memory is awesome. Cool. Okay, so 6 Degrees. I'm going B tier right now. The title track 6 Degrees is awesome. If we were just doing songs, um, that song would probably not be just B tier. So it's kind of like the first half of the album because it's a double album. So you have 5 songs on the front. You got Glass Prison, Blind Faith, Misunderstood, The Great Debate, and Disappear. And really, like, Glass Prison's great. I like Glass Prison. The end of the song has got some lyrical issues, but I don't really mind because I have definitely focused a lot more on the music. Lyrics do have lots of importance, but for me, like a song with kind of cruddy lyrics could still be a really awesome song, in my opinion. And Blind Faith is great. Then you get into kind of more just experimentally soundscapey type songs like Misunderstood and A Great Debate. The Great Debate has a really cool solo section. It reminds me of like Liquid Tension stuff because this will be like the first album that wasn't like, oh, we're going to do a concept like Scenes was when Jordan Rudess was part of the band. So that solo section in The Great Debate and also in Blind Faith, it just reminded me a lot of Liquid Tension, which they had kind of just uh, gotten finished with the second album not too long before this 6 Degrees was out. Anyways, but then the song 6 Degrees is a super cool song. I love the way that it flows. It's probably one of the it's the best. It's a really good example of how prog dream theater can be. It's not just a heavy like prog metal song. It gets very light. I mean, Solitary Shell has like an elevator music solo is what I remember thinking but it's so good. Like, especially when you get into that song, you got that square wave lead that's just going around, and the beautiful 12-string guitar. Oh, it's so good. But that takes you on a journey. That is for sure. Super good song. But I just think that the first part of the album just brings it down a little bit to B tier. We'll see if I want to move it later. Cool. Okay. So on to Train of Thought. This is a popular one for a lot of Dream Theater fans because it is just the all out metal album. I think I'm going to start it in B tier, but come on, move it above 6 degrees. Um, because I mean, I love the metal side of Dream Theater. That's one of the main reasons that they're one of my favorite bands, is because they just do metal really well, and I love the way it sounds. And this is just an all-out riff fest that's got so many good songs on it. As I Am, I mean, that solo is blistering. This Dying Soul is nuts. Endless Sacrifice is great. That's one that's not just like crazy riff fest. Like, I think that the hooks in that song are really good. Um, Honor Thy Father, that's just crazy heavy. And you get the little breather with Vacant. But the cool thing about Vacant is how it foreshadows the best instrumental that they've done, Stream of Consciousness. There's lots of parts in Vacant that then get reintroduced in Stream of Consciousness. So that's the cool part of it. I think a lot of people would think throw Vacant out of that album and it would be perfect. I don't think that. I think it needs to be there because it's just like this nice breather before you get into this crazy instrumental song. And then In the Name of God is really great. I love how that song builds and just goes nuts at the end. And then all the layers that are happening at the end is really cool. Anyways, enough blabbering. Let's move on to Octavarium. Okay, this is another tough one. I think I'm also gonna go B tier right now. Ah, this is getting tough. I think I might have some adjusting that I'm going to need to do at the end when I see everything laid out. Okay, great album. This one I do feel like has some filler though, so yeah, based on that, maybe I should move it down a little bit. Um, yeah, I actually think maybe like this, because I saw a really funny Facebook post that showed like Dream Theater songs in a nutshell, and or somebody explaining like Octavarium, the last two songs make you glad that the other songs, were on there or something like that. Gosh, butchered that. But basically, just that Sacrifice Sons and Octavarium are such a good pairing at the end that you were glad you listened to the album. Where the rest of it's just kind of nice. There's definitely some popular stuff with it. There's an insane web page that I don't know if still exists or not, but about goes really in depth about the craziness of Octavarium with like all the um, negative time that they put into the song, so that there's like each key represented and all this stuff, and then just Octavarium itself is nuts with all the things that it brings back from earlier in the album, all that stuff. But I mean, Root of All Evil, I like that song. It's really good. Part of the AA suite. Um, These Walls is a pretty cool one. That's one that has a lot of good hooks in it. Dream Theater. It's almost like Dream Theater trying to write something that would work for the radio, possibly. um, Panic Attack is cool, and Sacrifice Sons. Like I said, that one and Octavarium really hold this album up. They're kind of like the pillars of the album that keep it from maybe going down into like a C tier or something like that. All right. I don't know. I might change it. We'll see. Okay. Next album. is one of my favorites. So this is one that I think a lot of people would disagree with from some of the stuff that I've seen, but uh, I think I have slight bias because this is when I found Dream Theater in about 2007, and this album had just been released, so it was the newest one. So I was like, okay, I just discovered Dream Theater. What's some other music that they have? And I went to Best Buy, and this is what they had there was the newest release, and plugging that in and then hearing In the Presence of Enemies, boom, a mind explosion. It's so good. If this, and I know I never know if I would change my mind if I did like a song list of Dream Theater, like what's the 2015 best songs. In the Presence of Enemies is top three for sure, if not my favorite Dream Theater song ever. It is just the perfect example of what I think Dream Theater does best. And this album, I think, is a really good, like, it's kind of like a center room with a ton of doors, and every door is another one of Dream Theater's albums. I would give somebody this album first, because if they like Forsaken, I would probably bring them back to like Images and Words, or maybe 6 Degrees. If they like Constant Motion, that would probably put them in kind of Train of Thought, along with if they like Dark Eternal Night, that would get them into Train of Thought. If they like Repentance, I would say go to Octavarium. If they liked Prophets of War, I would probably still say Octavarium, because that kind of has like that same Muse-esque thing like they have with Never Enough. If they like Ministry of Lost Souls, that would be, I mean, a ton of different ones that I would want to like, check out. Awake, also check out Octavarium, check out 6 Degrees. But if they like In the Presence of Enemies, I'm like, just start at the beginning of the good stuff and work your way through it. Because if you liked that, you're gonna love Dream Theater. So S tier for Systematic Chaos for sure. And I think it's just under Scenes from Memory, mostly because like there's just so much going on with scenes that makes it just a little better in my opinion. But I love Systematic Chaos, one of my favorites out of that. Okay, so let's move on to Black Clouds and Silver Linings, the last album with Mike Portnoy. And let's see, this one, I think I might go A, but in the back. But is it better than Train of Thought? That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know. Let's move it here, because yeah, I don't know if it's better. In my opinion, again, my opinion. We got Nightmare to Remember. I love that song. Rite of Passage just fits along. It's kind of like a constant motion on this one too. Just like rock energy all the way. Wither is a fine song. Shattered Fortress, I think, was a really cool way to wrap up the AA suite that Portnoy did. Brought all the pieces back together. So if you listen to that with all of them next to each other, it's a good listen. I like the way that that song wraps everything up. Best of Times, it's a slow burn. Starts out a little slow, but then you get to that solo and you're like, yep, that's super good. And then Kind of Testing is super epic. I love all of the soundscapes of that song. Super beautiful. Um, yeah, I think that's a decent place for that for right now. Okay, and now we enter the Mangini era with dramatic turn of events. So this, let's see. I am thinking it's A, and I would say More Than Awake. And I almost want to say More Than Images and Words. I'm gonna I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna leave it right there for now. On the Backs of Angels and Build Me Up, Break Me Down. Lost Not Forgotten is one of my favorite Dream Theater songs. That solo is phenomenal. Love that section. This is the Life. It's a nice song. I like that song. You know, I think Dream Theater always does a good job of not just being just one sound. And in my opinion, I think that's what prog would be, is that you just have so many influences and it is poured out all on the canvas. It's not like they just like metal and they just like rock. They love a ton of different styles of music and it just comes out. You just write a song and you're like, that's what it is. It doesn't need to end up having some crazy instrumental section in the middle. It's just a song. There you go. Bridges in the Sky and Outcry. I love those songs. Far from Heaven, and then to the last song, Beneath the Surface. They're all right. They're like Rudis and LeBray can just play those all on their own in a live show, and it sounds fine. But kind of a little bit more filler in that. And then Breaking All Illusions is an awesome song. I love that intro and then all the craziness that happens throughout that one, but still think it's got very nice moments in it as well. Good, it's a really good album. It was one of those ones where you're like, gosh, I wonder what's going to happen without Mike Portnoy in the band, and you got a really good album. That's what I think. Cool. Okay, so moving on to Dream Theater self-titled. Just gonna put that C. It's all right. Good songs, but really, if in my opinion, if you took out The Looking Glass, I'd put that at D. I think The Looking Glass keeps this at a C because that song is awesome. Very good, well-written song. There's hooks in it. That one would totally work for like a radio song with awesome, awesome solo in it, all that good stuff. Okay, then moving on to the Astonishing. Let's see. I'm going with D. There's lots of good pieces of music in this song or in this album. Moments that are just like beautiful or man, that's an awesome riff. But there's just too much like bring it back to the one to resolve. We're going to resolve it and fade out and go to the next song. Um, and like the story's fine, it's like a cliche story, but I like cliche stories, those movies where you can predict exactly what's going to happen at the end, or some of my favorite movies to watch because the brain likes stuff like that. It likes to be able to predict things and be right. um it has kind of a cliche story for this, but it's just some of the pieces don't fit well. um I don't know, maybe not that they fit well, but it's just not working in the same way that like Scenes from a Memory is working when it comes to a concept album. I feel like there's a lot of filler in The Astonishing. I still like it. Again, I mean, he's the whole tier. I still like The Astonishing. I listen to it every time it comes up on my playlist because I just have a playlist of songs in alphabetical order. If it's a concept album, it's by the title of the album in the alphabetical order. So every time I start from A, The Astonishing is going to be within a couple hours of the beginning of my playlist, and I listen to it all the time when the playlist starts over. So I don't skip it. It has lots of good moments, but it just doesn't quite hold up as like it's definitely not a desert island album. It would be the A and S tier that I would bring. Maybe B tier as well, because those are good. Anyways, let's get on to their most recent album, Distance Over Time. Now, this one, because it's like, well, we got The Astonishing and it was all right. I wonder what Dream Theater is going to be able to do. And I think they hit it out of the park. I love this album. It's super, super good. Um, Untethered Angels, a great single. Paralyzed as well. Falling into the Light is Dreamtalica. I like that song though. Barstool Warrior is kind of like, you know, the Looking Glass is just, whoa, this song is good first time. There's no need to go back and listen to it to gain more of an opinion on it. It's just going to get better the more that you listen to it. Love that song. um, Room 137 and S2N are fun. I like those songs, not bad. At Wit's End has lots of cool parts in it. A great listen. Out of Reach, kind of like with a dramatic turn of events, you know, Far from Heaven, Beneath the Surface type of song. And then Pale Blue Dot, super awesome, crazy Dream Theater doing what they do best type of song. So, do I like this list? I need to check. I need to go through. These two are good. I mean, that's where they would be. I think I agree with everything under like C and under. And then I also agree with the S tier. So it's really these ones, this bulk of really good albums and how they would be ordered. Let's look at A. Let's see if I like that order of A. I do think that like Awake for me is definitely A tier. And would be like the bottom part of the A tier. These two. This is a tough one to ask. Let me see. So I don't know. I still thinking about the A tier. But B, I would agree with the order of these two. I like Train of Thought a little bit more than Black Clouds. Do I like this? No, but do I like Octavarium more? You know what? This is it. Here we go. This is what we have. So ranking from, let's go from F. We have When Dream and Day Unite, then Falling into Infinity, The Astonishing, Dream Theater self-titled, Octavarium, mostly because of the songs that aren't Sacrifice Sons in Octavarium. 6 Degrees would be above Octavarium, mostly because of 6 Degrees itself. You know, because I might be just thinking about that. Do we like that? I think I might like that more. Okay, so now here it is. So we heard it from before. So we're just starting on the B tier. I swapped these two. Then Black Cloud, Silver Linings, Train of Thought, Awake, Images and Words, A Dramatic Turn of Events, Distance Over Time, Systematic Chaos. That might be the crazy wild card that is my crazy difference from maybe some other Dream Theater fans. And then Scenes from Memory is the best one. Another reason I think Scenes from Memory is my favorite album is because I love Petrucci's guitar tone. I think that is, in my opinion, his best guitar tone that he has. When Black Clouds and Silver Linings came out, I just felt like it was too metal the whole time. Like his tone just got, I don't know, I just didn't like it as much. And maybe I've just gotten used to it over the last couple albums with, you know, a dramatic turn of events and then Distance Over Time being, you know, higher ranked than that. And maybe it's like been changed a little bit, but Scenes from Memory, every time I hear, you know, Overture 1928, you know, I love that guitar tone. So good. So that's another reason why it's number one for me. Sweet. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you agree with me, that's awesome. And if you disagree, I want to see it in the comments. So let me know what you think I got wrong. And really, this one's tough. I would say everything from in the A and the B tier, I would see plenty of reason to swap anything around there. But like C and lower, that's my opinion. And S, that's my opinion. I like it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more like this. Let me know other bands that you would like me to do an album tier lists. It might give me a reason to check out some new bands, which I'm always interested in doing. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.